Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my new video today. We are going to be talking about supply and demand zones, basically like resistance and support zones. Very simple, honestly. I use them as same terms together, but going forward, we're going to jump straight into it and talk about it. So this past couple of days, I've been identifying a very solid supply and demand zone level on this specific stock, which is AMD. We're going to jump straight into it. We're going to teach you about supply and demand. So we're going to zoom in a little bit. Very simple. What it is it is a little box of resistance and support lines. Very simple. All you have to do is find where the buyers are, where the sellers are. There's a certain level of zone or range where the buyers will be sitting and where the sellers will be sitting. Sellers are where the selling start to sell, or the buyers are where the buyers will start buying. So buyers are usually on the downside, sellers are usually on the upside. Why? Because supply equals resistance, demand equals support. Support can sometimes be into a bounce zone. So sometimes we see support, it bounces off. Sometimes we see resistance, it gets rejected. So that is what supply and demand zone is. So I'm going to put it in right here real quick on the text for you guys. Supply equals sellers, or it can be demand equals buyers. So buyers on the bottom side, supply or sellers on the top side. Very simple strategy. You can use it all time frames, but the best results are on the day trading time frames, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. I will show you guys a perfect example of supply and demand zone from what happened today on AMD. But we're going to look over here real quick on AMD on the hourly chart or daily chart, whichever you want to do. Let's just pretend that one time frame here equals all time frames. So let's pretend we're day trading right here, okay? So let's say you are day trading, you want to find some supply demand zones. So you know where the buyers are, you know where the sellers are. We are going to mark the areas of where they are sitting currently on this specific stock of AMD. So we're going to use this tool called rectangles. And this basically what it is right here. Very simple. It helps a lot with identifying them and putting them where the buyers are, where the sellers are, and it helps you while you're day trading. So Thinkorswim has a tool for you to use that to identify it and helps you label it. So supply, once again, is going to be your resistance. So let's go ahead and see where AMD is starting to find that resistance or supply. Here we go. We have a box range right here, box range up and down price action going on right here on AMD. So let's say you were to be day trading or swing trading or scalping the market right here. If you're scalping using 5-minute charts, this is what's going to be the strategy for you. You want to be waiting for a rejection entry right here off the supply zone, or you want to be buying right here off the demand zone for AMD if you're scalping. Same thing with long-term day trading or swing trading. Let's go over here, find where the sellers are right here. So we have a range. We have some resistance right here on AMD. We come down, we come up, start a downtrend, and we start to find some bottom right here on AMD. So that is the first sign of demand zone right here. You won't know that there is demand zone right here unless there's a previous support back in the previous times. Right here, let's say you're day trading, it's a new day. Right here, you won't know this is a new demand zone until this is created right here. So that is where we are currently finding the demand zone on AMD. Demand equals buyers until it turns and breaks that demand zone, starts selling. But right now it's currently holding. This is currently the support, aka demand zone on AMD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label it with my tool right here. And there is a range of buyers right here every single time we touch this range right here. So every time we touch it right here, around 84.30 support right here on AMD, we bounce. We start to consolidate right here off the lows. We come up, We retest it again. 1, 2, come up again. What goes from 85, 80, all the way up to 99 or 100. And you come back again, and guess where you end up? We end up at the same resistance as we had right here back in April. So that is where we are finding supply zone. So that is the supply zone created right there. So we're going to make our second box right here. Boom, there we go. And I am going to make this colored red because this is currently sellers, unless we break that with some volume, but that's not what's happening right now. So we're going to change this to red because this is the sellers. We're going to make this a little bit darker so it's not too bright. Let's do this. And this is going to be green for buyers on the AMD. Here we go. We got supply, demand. You can also call it support and resistance. There you go. We have AMD coming back down again. It's a very choppy market, I know, but this is a good example of a box range, supply and demand zones, resistance and support. But here we go. We touch it again. We come down. We touch it again. Same exact supply zone right here. We come back down, and guess what happens again with AMD? We start to hit that level of support right here on AMD, exactly where we have been bouncing off and trying to hold and bounce. Here we go. 1, 2. We start to base right here. We come up again. Made day trading right here. Choppy markets. We come back down, start selling off, and guess where AMD ends up right here, all the way in the bottom of the supply zone right here, or demand zone. Sorry. Big green range right here is the demand zone. AMD had a big dip in this first hour candle right here from 86.80 all the way down to 83.30, then comes back up, starts showing big buyers right here, comes back down again, retests the same demand zone again. It comes back up all the way, right here, and guess where it ends up? In this same supply zone. Very simple strategy. If you were to be playing this with the perfect plan, perfect execution, you would be making a lot of money right here in AMD. But currently with the market conditions, it's a very choppy chart and it's very hard to trade in these times right now. But this is a perfect example of a supply and demand zone for people who are day trading those strategies, or people who want to identify where they are, where the buyers are and where the sellers are. Very simple. Sometimes when there is a breakthrough happen, confirmed with the candle close above a certain supply zone or demand zone, that demand zone, let's say for demand zone, for example, if you break that demand zone, you start selling off below, that will currently turn into a supply zone, because that's where the selling started right there. So selling started right there. We're going to sell off more and hit our next support, or whatever our next support is. Let's say, for example, 79 right here. If AMD starts coming back down here, loses the supply zone right here, and we come back up, if we hit that same old demand zone we have and we get rejected, that is going to turn into a supply zone. So it's basically like support breaking down, coming back up to hit that same support level again, but gets rejected. That is going to be resistance now. Same exact thing as supply and demand. It's a very simple strategy. You can use it on all time frames. The best you will see it is day trading. So let's go over here and go on the 5-minute chart for what happened exactly today. And this was a very good example on AMD. Let's go ahead and go on the 5-minute chart. So let's say we're scalping. A scalper has high experience. They know what to do. They have a perfect execution plan, and the market is in healthy condition. Okay, so market is doing good. There's no fake outs. Let's pretend that's going on. Okay, so AMD has a nice day right here on Thursday. Has a nice day, rise up all the way over here, then starts pulling back a little bit to breathe, gives a momentum slowdown before we continue higher. And here you go. We bounce off this basic area right here. Some little little bit of a demand zone right here for AMD right here on the 5-minute chart. Okay, so it looks like we found some support right here based on this pullback right here. We come back up, come back down, come back up, come back down, and guess where we are again. We're in the same support as right here where we previously pulled back to continue higher. So here we go. This is AMD right here. We come back higher again. We sold off again. And here we go. The next day, 5 minutes. Usually in the first 30 minutes of the market, you want to avoid trading because there's no exact trend. If you're a day trader, you always want to wait for a setup. Very important. But here we go. Here we go. AMD pulls back. Guess where it ends up? The same exact supply zone as where it was yesterday. Here's today, here's yesterday. Here we go. We touched that same exact demand zone right here from yesterday's demand zone on the 5-minute chart. So this is a good entry for a day trader to be making right here for calls if this demand zone holds. If it doesn't hold, then it turns into a supply zone possibly, or a broken support and find some new support down here somewhere in yesterday's support, or a older support down here if you are a longer term day trader or swing trader. Right now, we're just focusing on these levels right here. So here we go. AMD bounces off right here, breaks this resistance from yesterday's high. So here we go. We have this resistance right here. And this is usually what you want your entry to be right here for calls, just to be safest, because we're not sure where the market is going in the first 15 or 20. Usually after the first 30 minutes, this will be your best direction, because at the 15-minute candles, this is what you want to be using for your best confirmations on day trading. But we're not talking about day trading right now. We're not talking about any of that, but we're just talking about supply and demand right now. So here we go. We break this first resistance, which is basically supply zone, because this is what happened yesterday on AMD. We somehow hit some kind of resistance right here and we started selling off. So this is basically a small supply zone right here that we have on AMD. Small one, not major, nothing crazy. But we're just gonna mark it right here. So here we go. AMD tries to break this supply zone resistance range right here. You can see right here, this 5-minute candle tried breaking it. It fails on this candle. The next candle, we got over it, but we failed to close above it. Okay, so this basically ends up in a doji candle, sort of. But here we go. Next candle breaks out. Volume is picking up right here. You got to also watch the volume. Very important. But here we go. We pick up, we break over it. This is usually where you want your entry to be, which is exactly what happened with what we did today on the calls. We had a 100 strike and went from 190 to 250, I believe, but I only took some off the table and let the rest ride because I thought it was going to hit 99.50 for that supply zone to hit and then fall back. But instead, it has a pullback instead, and we locked tiny profits. But here you go. Supply zone exactly hit right here on AMD. Where have we been hitting that supply zone again the past couple of days? There we go. Right here on AMD. Same exact supply zone that we have been in the past couple of days since the 11th right here on AMD. So very important to also zoom out on your daily chart, your hourly chart. Identify your supply and demand zones, where they are, mark them, label it. Let's go back over here. We have some more right here. So here we go. Scalper stream right here. It pulls back. The perfect entry for puts right here, because there's not much volume in the market. There's not much strength in the market right now. So it's pretty weak still. Market condition is pretty weak still. So perfect entry for puts right here, or shorting right here. AMD pulls back and comes back under the supply zone. So we have found some smaller demand zone right here on the 5-minute chart on AMD from today. Okay, from today. So here we go. We have found some nice supply right here, or demand, sorry. Nice demand zone on AMD right here from today, because of these areas right here where we had tried to dip down, then come back. The next candle, we broke out, and this is where we started to retest, then break out again. So there's multiple supply zones and demand zones happening every single time frame, and you will find them no matter what. But here we go. AMD comes back up, comes back down. Where's the dip? Going out again right here. The same demand zone as right here. Then what happens again? We bounce off with a nice candle. Outside, 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 outside. And here we are. The same supply zone as yesterday's resistance that we failed to hold. And it gets rejected right here. Good area for entry. Good entry for puts right here. We come back down again. And guess what happens again? We fall back into the same exact demand zone as earlier 2 times. So this is 3 times right here. You can also call this a triple bottom right here on the 5-minute chart. And here we go. AMD bounces up again. And guess what happens? It touches the same exact supply zone as it was doing earlier and the day before. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times it tried to break this level of 96.60 right here on AMD. It was just going up and down, sideways, up and down, up, down. And here we go. End of day, last 30 to 15, 10 minutes right here in the market. We start to sell off. And this is where AMD tries very hard to hold that demand zone. But the market pressure going downside is pushing AMD and starting to lose that demand zone. So not good for AMD day trading, but this is day trading only. It doesn't really matter in the bigger time frame, because if you look again, we're over there in day trading. But if you go on, let's say you're swinging, look how big this supply and demand zone is. You have a lot of room right here, all the way down back to 84. So make sure you are using the correct time frame. Make sure you know what you're doing. If you don't have any experience with trading supply and demand zones, I would practice on the paper trading accounts or Webull or Thinkorswim and start learning it. Very, very effective strategy, especially for day trading. Also, if you're day trading, you want to be using the correct indicators, especially EMA 9 and 20 SMA. You can use them on the 5-minute chart and the 15-minute chart, and that will be your best friend for day trading with your supply and demand zones or resistance and support zones. So very simple strategy. Make sure you're using the right time frame. If you're day trading, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. If you're swing trading, let's say you buy today, you're selling it tomorrow or the next day, you want to be using minimum 1-hour charts, daily charts, and weekly if you are using SMAs. If you're going to be swinging a couple days out or a week long, daily chart or weekly chart. Weekly chart is best for longer term swing trading, let's say for a couple weeks out. But in my opinion, right now with the market, I would definitely not recommend that. So your best friend, your best options will be swing trading overnight, a couple days out, or next week swings. So start learning your supply and demand zones. Very helpful. They will help you identify where the buyers are, where the sellers are, and also make sure you are on all time frames so you know exactly where they are, the bigger picture and the smaller picture. That's it. If you want to learn more about those, please comment below, or you can go on Google, look it up. It's all over internet these days, but very simple. Hope you guys learned a lot about supply and demand zone trading. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching and take care.